we're gonna do ba 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 music, 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 and welcome back to Masters of Modern. I am your host, Alex Kessler. We're back on Friday doing the Masters of Modern thing. I think it's actually Wednesday or Thursday. Here with my co-hosts, Ben Bateman and Michael Grothy. Welcome back to the Masters of Modern, Michael.
Hello.
It's a new year. We're doing the Cast Masters of Modern show again. Those who saw the title, today we're going to be talking about all of the lands in Kaldheim and what we think their playability in Modern is going to be. We then next week will be coming out with our top 10 cards for Modern set review for Kaldheim, so stay tuned for that next week. But today, because the lands, we didn't want to include them in our ranking. That's no fun. We already know the flip lands are going to do a thing. We're going to have a small conversation about snow and some other stuff, but like including them in our top 10 felt disingenuous, and or it was already hard to cut down to just the 10 cards. And so this is my way to cheat and make my life easier, which I think Ben appreciated because he just made his top 10 list right before this episode. I'm calling him out because I'm a monster. But yeah, and I have this nice little PowerPoint over here so I can go through the lands. But how are you guys?
Good. It's exciting to be back doing a Modern set review. I think this set has so much text. It's a crazy set for text.
Yeah, it is
double-sided cards. Yeah.
There are the most words written on Magic cards rule text in any set of standard printing ever, which is an insane statistic, and I'm glad someone else on the internet looked that up, and I didn't have to.
Yeah, it's not that surprising, though. I mean, yeah, with double-sided cards, and the double-sided cards in this are, like, I feel like way more complicated than usual ones, because they're all, like, gods.
Well, it's weird, though, right? Because, like,
wild...
Well, so, Ben, you go. I was going to say it's weird, because, like, Innistrad... Innistrad cards were always really complicated because the transform mechanic had so much text attached to it, right? It's different than Zendikar, though, where Zendikar is, like... This is
yeah, but there were also like a lot of the flip cards in Innistrad were like 4/4 flips into 7/7, or like 2/3 flips into 4/6, and so it's like you have a trigger condition or whatever, and then like Delver of Secrets has like a couple lines of text and then flying on the back. But because all of these are gods, and then like the god's legendary like object or whatever, every single god has like 2 paragraphs on it, and then the backside has 2 more.
It's like a crazy amount of stuff. Like there was one card that I didn't put on either of my lists, but just like I read it like 7 times. I think it was Cosima, God of the Voyage. It took me several times rereading that card to be like, I think I understand what this does. I'm pretty sure I get it. Let me just read it one more time to make sure. And I was like, I don't have time for this. This won't make my list. And I just like moved on from it.
That blue sub-rare.
This card is not modern playable because it has too many words on it.
Yes, it's hard to understand.
Now we are talking specifically about the lands today. Now before we do that, I do want to shout out our patrons. Thank you all so much for being patrons. You are the reason we're able to do this, and by your help, we're hopefully able to kind of increase quality of the show, keep moving forward, help us do the Masters of Modern now that we're going to do every week. It seems like people are really excited about all of the Modern content we are doing. So we're very thankful to all of you, and et cetera. Please check, if you haven't checked it out, please check out patreon.com/mmcast. You actually get full episodes a week early. In fact, the episode review that we recorded that hasn't come out for YouTube yet, that comes out next week, is already fully out there. You can go just check that out, and it comes with at least 15 minutes more of bonus content, 10 to 15 minutes of bonus content of us talking about non-Magic stuff on the raw feed at patreon.com/mmcast. All right, let's talk about some lands. The first lands we're going to talk about, snow lands are back, baby. We got forest, plains, mountains, swamps, islands, the crew.
So how, of the 4 printings of Snow Basics, what are your Snow Basics of choice?
5.
Just how they
are
look?
we including the secret layer?
4 different frames.
Are we including the secret layer, the Wonderland?
Oh, I forgot about that. Sure.
5. Those
secret
5.
layer. Why not?
It's not. Well, if I could get like a lot of one color, maybe those. I don't think it's those. I think I'm full.
I
art.
don't really consider those a possibility because like I have a monocolor commander deck that uses Snowlands, which is the only place I'm using them, and I'm not really trying to get 32 or whatever of the same Secret Lair basic.
Right.
All I can tell you is that it is not the Cold Snap variant. Those are the ones that it is not for me. But I feel that probably the best, even though I think these new ones in foil are going to look the coolest. I think I'm an OG Ice Age guy. I'm pretty sure that's what I think I go for the OG Ice Age. There's something just so like campy about like Ice Age from that time that like now Snow is like I take seriously, but the entire set of Ice Age to me is so near and dear to my heart because of all those chaos drafts we've done. And what's his name? Krovikin, Balduvian. What's the blue guy?
Balduvian Shaman, yeah.
The one that we've read like 700
Classic
times.
common. Seems like it reads like a Kaldheim card.
I will say I am excited to see how these look in foil, and my mind could be changed by what this effect looks like in foil. But I'm gonna go with I'm a sucker for full art. Give me some Modern Horizons.
Those are sweet.
I wish there was more options than one artwork per option, but even then, they're super spicy. And
would you use more than one artwork, or do you just not like some of the arts and you're stuck with them because it's the only?
Yeah. There are some that I don't like as much as the others, which is more the issue is choices. Yeah,
cool. But so yes, we have basics coming back. We also have these snow duels. We have these basic snow duels, and they are all commons. They all enter tapped, and it's our newest variant of the common 2-color, really good for limited lands. But they're cool because they're searchable because they're both land types. We have all of them.
The as far as modern goes, I think the always thing to look at when dual lands are printed is that like, oh, Valakut is better, right? Because like you get to fix with red duels. These come into play tapped, which like they're just going to be worse in general, except for the fact that there are strategies like you can now do a like Valakut Primeval Titan snow option version of a deck that's taking advantage of some of the better snow cards and can take advantage of it here.
Kodal.
Ooh,
there's definitely some interesting snow strategies, and we'll get into some sort of more of those ideas next week when we do the full review of the set, because there's a lot of snow stuff in the set to talk about.
Right.
But definitely, I think having access to snow stuff, it's just I think we all agree for multiple reasons these are cool. It's nice to have another set of searchable lands with fetches that are cheap and easy to get.
Yeah,
these are not rares. So these are the first searchable lands ever, right? That are not rare, correct? That are both types.
Correct. So Pauper is like freaking out about them. These are like a cool, awesome, great addition to Pauper. For modern, I think that like you need to want to play with things that care about your lands having these card types and snow. I think you'll never use these to fix in snow decks because like Michael was saying before we even started recording, like 4-color snow is a deck, right? Like that has never really been the mana fixing to get snow lands hasn't been that difficult in modern. So you want to have the double card type, and Farseek is a good example of that, right? Like something like you want to be able to Farseek for an island, a blue producing land in a snow deck is like the like weird confluence of events that Man of Confluence won't make happen for you. Next cycle. Are we good here? Anything else?
Yeah. No, I think that's my big feeling on those. It's just nice to have another set.
We're good. All right, we're going to talk about flip lands. These look great. The artwork on them is always great. Well, I have the full art ones pulled up as well. I think the black-red one might be the best one of this entire cycle from both sets, mostly based on the fact that the black-red fast land has been the best fast land since those sets were printed. I think like these are at fast land power level. I think sometimes you want fast lands because you want to be able to do like a 1-drop red spell and then a 2-drop black spell, or like a black spell. But sometimes these are just going to be better because you want to just have untapped fixing at all times.
It's like a trade-off, right? Because red black in particular, Jund, maybe you want to turn 1 lightning bolt, but you might also want to be turn 3 Lilianing. So having both colors is nice. But also having your 4th land come in untapped to play Bloodbraid Elf is super duper relevant. So
I think where these shine
it's
the most.
going to be like a lot of testing to see which of those in each deck you would want to play, because it depends on your color requirements and how important it is to hit things on certain turns. And
right.
I think where these shine the most, because I've played my fair share of fast lands and whatnot, and I think in modern, if you ever were going to play a fast land, some decks would play them, but more often than not, they would end up as like a 1 over a 2 of index. where I think these really shine is in a standard format where you can now, with all 10 of them available, so you play mana bases that you won't get punished, and you can play 24 of these in your deck, and like you'll just have a pretty smooth draw most of the time, just because there's enough variety in your lands represented between all of them that I think if you mathematically balance it out, I think they look pretty darn good. So yeah, they're sweet.
I think, but like in Modern, we are like. I think, and Michael hit it on the nail, where it's like, how many 4-drops do you have? I think is basically what it comes down to. Or how many times are you planning on playing 2/2 on turn 4? And I think there are a lot of decks that do that, right? I don't think that's that out of the question. And so this being a fast land that lets you play Thoughtseize on turn 1, or play Lightning Bolt on turn 1, or Fatal Push on turn 1, but then lets you scale that into 4-drops you want to play, and maybe that's what it does, right? It makes it like Jund decks that are playing this will play with less Lightning Bolts and more Fatal Pushes, because then they can guarantee like they don't have to choose between Lightning Bolt and Liliana. They're choosing between getting Fatal Push turn 1 or Thoughtseize turn 1 into Bob, into Liliana, into a 4-drop. And splashing red more in that situation. I don't know. Yeah, I think these lands are one of the best lands printed basically since we've created this podcast.
We've also talked about the fact that like having access to like more blue-green lands, for instance, is like a really good thing. So yeah, they're great. They're exciting to have.
The next lands, and this is a big cycle, so we're going to go them 3, and then 4. These are the uncommon tapped sack lands. The first 3 are red-black, which you can sacrifice to deal 3 damage to target player, and that player discards a card, and only at sorcery speed. Blue-green, which is taps for blue, and then you can sacrifice it to put create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, except it enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. And then the blue-black one, which is 3 blue, black, sacrifice it to mill 4 cards and return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. As we go through... So go.
You've got like the sort of Croxa Lightning type of effect on one of them. You've got copy your own thing on the blue-green one, and then you've got a resurrection spell on the blue-black one. And I think of these 3, the one that really stands out to me is the resurrection spell. I think blue-black. I think the blue-green one is sweet because I do like copying my own stuff. But as we've seen with all the quasi-duplicates and effects like that have come out over time, I think Glasspool Mimic is probably one of the best versions of like a clone yourself variant that we've seen in a while. And that card is great, and I like it a lot. But to me, having a blue-black card that just like as I get later into the game, I'm just gonna be like, so now that I'm out of stuff, I'll just resurrect the best thing, and it's just a land is like really a big game. That's very powerful.
Right. Not to mention like this is such a good hedge for graveyard decks that are playing stuff like Loam, right? Like the ability to get this like just late game. I'm going to reanimate a thing. I can play one of these. It's gonna come to play tap. That's gonna suck. But then like from that point on, this is just this like free I win card in play. And yeah, I think the black-red one's just not good enough, right? For at least Modern. And then I think if I'm playing a clone effect, Glasspool Mimic to me seems like the card to go with if I'm trying to copy stuff and want it to also sometimes be a land. But Port of Carfell might be my favorite. The blue-black one might be my favorite of like the whole cycle, except for I think the white-black one's really dope. Unless I'm confusing it with a saga. There are so many sagas in this set. There's like half the rares are sagas. Michael?
Yeah, there's a cycle of multicolor rares and a cycle of multicolor uncommons.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Michael, of these 3? Did any of them stand out to you more than the others?
We're just talking about those 3. We're not talking about the other ones.
I'm gonna get to the other ones next, but we're doing 3
those 3
because the way that because there's so much text on these cards, I couldn't read them if I put more than 3 on a slide. So this is where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not super hopeful about any of these for Modern. I think comes into play tapped lands have to do a lot to be playable. Like I feel like the creature lands fit the bill better. But if I had to pick, I think the blue-black one's the best out of those.
There's one in this whole cycle that I actually think has the highest likelihood to make an impact, and it's not the blue-black one, in Modern specifically.
Next are Axguard Armory, Bredegard Stronghold, and Gates of Istfell. said all those hopefully correctly. 2 of these tap for white, 1 taps for green. The first one taps for white, 1 red, red, white. Sacrifice it. You get an aura card or an equipment card, reveal them and put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. The green one is 1 green, green tap-sac. Put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures you control. They gain vigilance, lifelink until end of turn. And then 2 white, blue, blue. Sacrifice it to gain 2 life and draw 2 cards. Yeah, thoughts?
I think that the red white one is cool, but I think the effect is a little expensive for the time in the game that you'd want it in modern. I think that the green one is fine, but that's not doing enough. I think that the blue white one's pretty interesting. I think the fact that that deck and those blue white decks often are like, I'll play Colonnade on turn 1, I don't care. Like they'll pretty gladly play a tap land. So playing one of these in that deck so that late in the game, because it's an instant speed effect, it's not only at sorcery speed, you can tap and sacrifice this land to gain 2 and draw 2. It's a good like pop you get out of a land later in the game. Those decks I think are probably pretty happy to do that, but it's a low power level card. But it's a consideration. I don't think it's bad.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
Yeah, I would play Gates of Istvel. I would not touch the other 2 cards in any. Well, maybe the green white in a format. But next and last of these slides, we have red green. Black white, black green, and blue red. Red green is 3 red, green green. Sacrifice it to destroy target land and create a 4/4 troll creature token with trample. Black white is small, and it says a creature you control. Create a 4/4 white angel warrior creature token. I'm gonna make it bigger.
So you missed it. This one is white, white, black. Sacrifice it and a creature you control. Create a 4/4 white angel warrior creature token with flying and vigilance. So this one has a little bit more cost to it than the others.
And you can only activate it at a sorcery speed. Then there's green black, which is sacrifice it up to 1 target creature you don't control gets -2/-2 until end of turn, and create 2 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens. Once again, only activate as a sorcery. And then the red one is red blue. Oh god, I went too big. 2 blue, blue, red. Sacrifice Surtland, Frostpire, Scry 2. It deals 2 damage to each creature. Activate this ability only anytime you can cast a sorcery.
So to me, that's the best of the cycle. I think that the blue-red one is the most interesting card in the whole cycle because I actually think that a blue, like any kind of like an Izzet or like a Dimir kind of control deck, that's exactly the kind of deck that like having sweepers is something like that's a card that they'd consider playing. But I think having a Pyroclasm on a land for later in the game, if you're like almost dead but you need to turn it around, feels valuable. And like again, in a similar vein as the blue white one, it's just that they don't really get to play very efficient wraths, or the wraths that they do play are kind of bad. So I don't think it's great, but I think this is the most interesting of the cycle. I like this card.
Yeah, it's cool. I just don't know how often 6-mana Pyroclasm is winning it for you. Like, even aggro decks that are playing a bunch of small creatures have probably built up more than a bunch of 2-toughness creatures by turn 6.
I guess Colonnade just is a dual land. Like if like I guess how much better would any of these be if they tapped for both colors? Way better?
They would all be way better.
Yeah. Twice as good maybe.
But like, would any of the things that we just said? So like, okay, let's say the ones that we have all agreed are like the most powerful or interesting. So let's say blue white, let's say blue red, and let's say black blue.
Actually,
do you think any of those?
After we've gone through these, just very quickly, I think if I were to rate them, I would say my top 3 are black white or black blue, followed by blue green, followed by white blue. And I realized that blue green works really, really well when you have Primeval Titan and Amulet of Vigor.
True. Yeah. Comes in untapped.
Because Titan gets it, and then you can copy the Titan, and then you get another one.
7/7 Primeval Titan.
Oh, nobody's beating that.
So
anyway, I think my point is just that even if these cards did tap for both colors, I still don't think they would be like auto includes in decks. So I just think the cost of a tap land in modern is a very high cost. I think is the point.
Evaluating these from like a limited perspective, I think it's really annoying that like half of them are only as a sorcery and half of them are not.
Yeah, it's true.
Because it's not even like it's all the ones that affect the board are sorceries. Because I feel like that's why you want to make it a sorcery, right? Because you don't want somebody to be like, lands are haphazard and you can't see, and they're like, haha, I make a 4/4 troll in the middle of combat and block. But you can do that. You can make a 4/4 troll in the middle of combat and block. You can't make an angel in the middle of combat, though. And you can't make your opponent discard during their draw step. You also can't make elves at instant speed or pyroclasm at instant speed, but you can just reanimate a creature at instant speed.
Yeah,
Like,
I wish.
How did they pick which ones were sorceries and which ones weren't?
I wish they were all of the like enemy colored ones were sorcery speed, and all of the allied colored ones
for me.
Well, at least then
because I won't
right?
even
like,
remember.
If I had you don't have any hard rule of thumb here, right? There's no way for me to remember now. At least with enemy or ally, you're like, okay, I can remember that. Or yeah, no, I agree. I think that's also annoying.
Yeah.
There is half and half though, right?
Like gain 2 life and draw 2 cards, or search your library for 2 cards and put them in your hand. Those at instant speed, sure, whatever. I don't care. It doesn't do anything. But the ones that like affect the board at instant speed are going to be so irritating and limited. I mean, more in paper, which I guess I may never play this set in paper. That has been the reality of the last year. But it just seems so annoying to be like, oh, I forgot about your Not Vold Slumber Mound that you played on turn 1, and you just blew me out by making a troll in the middle of combat and blocking. Like,
classic. I forgot about your Not Vold Slumber Band. All right, what do we got next?
And now the last 4 cards are all also relatively interesting, and these are the 4 rares, and that is the World Tree, Tyrite Sanctum, Shimmerfelt Veil, and Faceless Haven. And first, which is obviously the one that, at least for Commander, was the talk of the town, but does have just like, in some ways, I win the game written on it. You have the World Tree. It enters the battlefield tapped, tap for a green. As long as you control 6 or more lands, all lands you control have add 1 mana of any color. White, white, blue, blue, black, black, red, red, green, green. Tap it, sacrifice it, search your library for any number of god cards. Put them onto the battlefield and shuffle your library. So this combos with what's it called, right? The Mystic.
It's called
Muskwood Nexus or Maskwood Nexus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yay for reading my handwriting. Muskwood Nexus is not a card that they would ever make.
I miss your Muskwood.
I don't think this is nearly as powerful as it would be there, where it's like a 2-card combo that's like a land and an artifact that you need 10 mana to be able to activate is good enough. So I think it's fine in Modern. I think it's much safer. I think Commander, this sounds miserable though.
I do think that having a land that makes all of your lands tap for all colors is a powerful effect. I think getting to a 6 land to do it is the thing that's like, once you get to 6 lands in Modern, like a lot of the time the game is ending. So having access to all of the lands, then like who cares? But
well, this is a card that you play with Golos. So previously, like decks would play Golos. Like I've seen like Golos Tron and stuff, and they'll play Cascading Cataracts. So you can have a little land toolbox, search for whatever. But if you need to be activating your Golos, like if you're in a grindy matchup or something, or a matchup where you think your Golos is going to live, and
that's true,
you need to activate it. Before you would search for Cascading Cataracts, which is like a terrible card, but it made your Golos. Made the mana for Golos, whatever. But this is like a way better card that makes the mana for Golos.
Yep, that's true. Yep. And then eventually you can just win off. Yeah, okay. I that's fair. Golos decks definitely can take advantage of this in a way that is
this is like an RIP Cascading Cataracts card, because Cascading Cataracts is like really bad, but it did what you needed it to do when you needed it to do it. But this card is just better.
That's that trash from Amonkhet, right?
Yeah. But it turns like 5 mana, 5 colorless into 5 mana of any color. Yeah. So it would get you there if you were like Tron or something, where you didn't have colored mana, but you wanted to activate Golos for whatever reason. I don't know if Golos Tron is ever really going to be a thing again, but it was when the card came out and people were using Cataracts. So if there are ever any Modern decks that want to play Golos and don't naturally have access to all 5 colors, this is the card.
Next is Tyrite Sanctum. Tap it for a colorless, 2 tap it. Target legendary creature becomes a god in addition to its other types. Put a +1/+1 counter on it. 4, sacrifice Tyrite Sanctum. Put an indestructible counter on target god.
This is a cool card. I don't really think this is going to be a Modern card.
Agreed.
I think it's cool. It's cute. I think this will be fun. I think probably people will enjoy this in Commander. I don't really know what it does in Modern.
Yeah, super cool Commander card.
I'm gonna put it into Geist of Saintraft, and it's gonna be dope because eventually he'll be a god with his angel friend, and then he'll be an indestructible god with his angel friend. But that's it. That's all I plan on doing with it. But it is very cool. Next card is Shimmering Veil. I don't think there's too much to say about this. We're just hitting up every land. It enters the battlefield tapped. It enters the battlefield. Choose a color. You may tap it to add a mana of that chosen color. What's interesting to me about this card is I thought they were kind of afraid of printing this type of effect because of like Battle Bond. They're like, oh yeah, these lands would never be printed into standard because the memory issues are too much, and now they're just like, nope, never mind, we're doing it. And it seems like they played with those and they're like,
it's just the snow version. They just wanted to have this in snow. It seems
this card never doesn't exist not in snow though, is what Alex is saying. It's like a design shift because previously they've done Evolving Wilds for memory issues, right? You play Evolving Wilds, you can get any land of any color out of your deck, but you have to like get it so that your opponent knows what it is. You don't have to forget if you have multiples. And they were like, oh yeah, because if you had multiples of this, it's like which one's your blue one and which one's your green one or whatever. And then the Thriving Lands they did in
Jumpstart.
They did the Thriving Lands in Jumpstart, but they weren't in Standard and whatever. They're kind of a flash in the pan product. People probably aren't going to play Thriving Lands in that many formats. But now this is like a standard legal card that people might play in Standard because it's like an Evolving Wilds for Snow. I don't know.
I think it's a fine card. What you guys say about that is interesting. I mean, it's not a card that's going to see any modern play.
No.
Yeah,
probably
this
not
is
even
more,
standard play, honestly.
This is more of like an interesting, like a design, Wizards design philosophy in regards to printing cards that are like this was made for Arena, right? Like this card works in Arena, no problem. At any point will it be an issue, but like they're more and more willing to print cards that they are like, you know what, this is good in Arena. People will figure it out in paper. When like this, like it very easily that I play 3 of these and I like forget.
Well, it's a paper. Shuffling is more of a paper concern too. It is more clicks to play an Evolving Wilds on Arena, but I don't think it's like prohibitively difficult. But it is difficult in paper to be like Evolving Wilds turn 1, shuffle my deck. Evolving Wilds turn 2, shuffle my deck. Like it just takes a lot of game actions, and it's like a trade-off because the memory issues are bigger in paper, but the shuffling is a bigger issue in paper. So it's like, which one do you value? And they're trying out the other one.
Yep. And
maybe this is a card that we do see non-snow versions of in Standard regularly instead of Evolving Wilds. It just depends on what works better.
Yeah. And then the last one is Faithless Haven, Snow Land, tap it for colorless. Snow, it becomes a 4/3 creature with vigilance and all creature types until end of turn. It is still a land. We have Snow Mutavault. It is a beefier Mutavault. It's 4/3 versus a 2/2.
It's got sweet art too. Also, I think it's cool art on this card. But yes, I think this is a fun card to have. I like that it's all colorless, beefy land. I like that it's untapped. That's all good. I don't know if I don't like see a modern deck necessarily right offhand that I can think of this going in, but I definitely do know because it's an untapped colorless thing. There are decks you could play around with this in. There are those Tron centric decks that in Historic that don't feel that far from Modern Tron. This could slot into some deck kind of in that vein.
I think
it needs snow. That's the problem. It needs snow lands to wake up.
Yeah, I think the fact that where this does see play, and I think the reason it has a chance is like this taps for snow, right? It doesn't just tap for colorless. So snow decks, this taps for mana that they need regularly as a dual land. And then now those snow lands get a creature land, right? Before they couldn't play not Evolving Wilds. They could play Evolving Wilds. It's one card they can play. They couldn't play Celestial Colonnade to fix their mana, right? Because it's not a snow land, and therefore they could get screwed. This lets them play a man land, a creature land.
It would be a lot better if Astrolabe was legal.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
Which is good. It's not.
Yeah, but like I think the problem is that snow decks that are multicolor in Modern and other formats have such a tenuous mana base because they're so reliant on basics that like you're fetching Snow Island and then you're fetching Snow Forest and then you're fetching Snow Plains or whatever. Like a colorless land is just going to totally ruin your mana like way more because you don't have like a dual that casts half your cards.
Sure.
With its one colored or its 2 colored options. So I think that this is going to find more of a home in something like Skred.
Yeah, agreed. And I think that's
monocolor snow decks, and as they print more snow cards, maybe there's more monocolor snow decks. Skred is the one that springs to mind, but this seems like a great Skred card to me.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. I think like you don't want this in you don't want this in decks that are more than 2 colors, but the more they print snow, the more likely there are decks that are 2 color snow decks or 1 color snow decks, and this I think is like a great card for those decks. It would be hard for me not to play this in that.
Yeah, it's like a pretty aggressive rate for a 4/3 vigilance.
Yeah, that's the thing I paid the most attention to actually when I looked at it. Is I liked the idea. I liked the idea of being able to get it for 3 mana. That seems like a good, solid, and the fact that it's an untapped source, like the combination of those two things together, means it's just pushed a little further, and I can see this card being useful. So yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Cool. And that is it. So, once again, thank you everyone for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and also comment which with blah, 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 which land cycle you're most excited by. And actually, I really want to know, more than anything, please comment with which of the 5 printings of Snowland are you preferential to? Which are those? That's, I think, the best question of the evening. So that's what I want to hear from the comments. Definitely hit like. Once again, thank you to our patrons. You're the reason that this podcast happens every week. You make this happen. We are extremely thankful. And we're doing this now. This is a thing. So probably every Thursday, we'll be releasing a Masters of Modern video. It'll be about Modern every single time. It'll be about anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes long. This one's on the longer side, but welcome to review season. And then make sure to tune in next week, where we'll be doing our full top 10 Kaldheim cards for Modern countdown with all 3 of us. And then also tune in on Monday for my birthday stream. It's my birthday that Wednesday. Actually, the Wednesday after this episode, the main video comes out, is my birthday that Wednesday. And it's Michael's birthday. Are we gonna do
something sweet for your birthday?
It is Michael's birthday, like on this weekend.
Wow.
I promise you and your wife have birthdays days next to each other, and I don't remember which one is which one. So you're gonna have to say which one you are out loud.
My birthday is January 31st.
31st, okay. So yours on Sunday. So this video right before. So everyone wish us happy birthday on Twitter. I'm at Kess Wiley.
I'm at Ben Bateman Media. Oh, I didn't mean to steal your birthday game.
Nobody's wishing you happy birthday, Ben. I'm at Dudar, DUDARDD.
I'm at Ben Bateman Media, and I officially missed the Susie Cake cakes. I miss those days.
Yep. Everyone's getting a shirt. There will be shirts. We probably do a shirt giveaway contest too on this at some point. But yeah, thanks everyone. We'll talk to you guys next week on all of our birthdays.
Bye.